Kasi
Okay, I'm checking the attendance. Kindly inform your classmates. Wala palang ma-review of 5 students. John Paul, pwede mo ga ma-turn off ang imong camera para hindi masyado static bala? Okay, it's 8, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 students pa lang. Tinang iban. Seven pa lang kamo. I need more. Document pa dyan. Madasig na lang dyan, hindi kailangan ng haba-haba. Please call your classmates. Okay, 8 pa lang, 8. Okay, 9 na, 9 na. Bisan maka 15 lang ka mo, okay na ako. Madali lang isa. This is just only for clarification regarding the module that you are reading, making sure that you are able to understand all the information that you try answering in the blog that you are making. So you still 10 pa lang ka mo. Coming ang iban. Yes. Diyan na sa class. Kita niyo ang PowerPoint presentation? Somebody
Yes,
answer
ma'am.
me? Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, please
Yes,
turn
ma'am.
off the microphone.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, kindly turn off your microphone. Okay, few more. Kamay na lang. Ilan na kita?
1, 2,
Still
6, 7, 8, 9.
10. 10.
Ma'am.
Okay, so turn on your camera first. Screenshot lang ako. Ha?
Sige, ma'am.
Okay. Para makita ko man itsura niyo, kaya hindi ako kakilala sa iban sa inyo. Familiar ang iban. Huya pa ka mo. Sinong wala?
Sorry, ma'am. Medyo magamo lang dre, ma'am.
I-silent mo lang gidang mo ka. Okay lang na. No problem. It's normal because it's your home. Medyo, kung okay man na, okay man eh. Again, let's take a photo first for the beginning, then later on, another photo for documentation lang nisa. Okay? Let's start. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, wait. I'll save. One more time. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. May naglagas. Okay, save. First day. Okay, I will check the attendance. Okay, at least nagdamo-damo na gid man. You're at least 11 students. So Angel is here. Say present. Angel, Christian, Greg Arroyo.
Present. Present, ma'am.
Okay, Crystal Joy.
Present, ma'am.
Esmaria Liza. Okay.
Maria Liza,
Okay.
ma'am, present.
Okay, next is Gian Villaruz.
Present, ma'am.
Hans Ivan. Jessa Aldeo. Where are you?
Present, ma'am.
Jude. Jude's Darrell Loyola.
Present, ma'am.
Mary Joy.
Present, ma'am.
Mary Joy. And then Rumi.
Present, ma'am.
How about? Okay, so you're at least 12 students right now in this Google Meet class. First time, hindi man?
Hindi,
First
ma'am.
time,
Hindi
hindi
man,
man. Kay sino ka muna Google Meet? Kay
Kay
Sir
Sir
Marcelino?
Marcelino, ma'am.
Okay, I understand
Ma'am, hindi
because
makita
kailangan.
ang screen, ma'am.
Wala pa man ako gapacho, so don't worry.
Ay, sorry, ma'am.
Okay, so before we start our clarification regarding your module, I will show you first the Netiquette during our online class. This Netiquette, you need to follow it and at heart so that it will not have problem while we are discussing during the, like for example, sharing of ideas with your classmates, or if I'm not yet done with my discussion. Please watch carefully some of the rules and regulations during the by watching the video. Okay, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Can you see the video?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Get ready.
Kita ang video, ma'am.
Hindi makita ang video, ma'am.
Hindi makita ang video.
Oo.
Ang pin bala, guys, pindutan ninyo para makita nyo ang screen.
Ipin nyo ang akon. Luwaton ko
Oo,
sa'yo na.
si Ma. Thank you.
Basta ipin nyo lang yung naka-picture. Okay, ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Again.
So, regarding the netiquette, give me one example of the rules or netiquette that you've seen in the video. Anybody?
Be on
What
time, ma'am.
on time? Number one. Because earlier we are late, right?
Bye, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So make sure next time kindly be on time so that we will not waste any more time. May time pa kamo para sa iba ng mga subject. We will actually ang gina-target ko lang sa aton nga this class at least 30 minutes. Because more on clarification lang ang aton i-target. It's because all the details can be found in your module. So as you can see, I planned this action research because I found out that there are few students or some students in your class that's somehow not really understanding the concepts of the self-learning modules that the DepEd is providing for you. In addition, the modules are not enough for at least 350 students grade 11. 350, almost 350 grade 11 students. Meaning, we tried our best to provide modules, half of the modules, and we try to rotate it so that everybody can learn. However, if you've noticed, the difference on the learning, it gives gap to everybody. Kumbaga, it limited the reality when it comes to learning. Even though I know some of you are having difficulty because you have at least, 11 modules to answer, 12 modules to answer. But if you can see, now it's no longer that. It became 5 modules a week. So hindi na siya amuna kabugat, unlike before. And sometimes there are some modules na nag-abot in 2 weeks or more. Like in my case, my subject. If we try to follow the timeline, medyo ulihi ka mo kung tutuusin. Kaya kung sa minatuod na we are in our class, actually, kung daan kita sa minatuod na class ta, yung inyong mga gina-answeran sa module is not enough. Why? Because the heaviness and what do you call this, the topic that you will be learning, not just in my subject, and the load that you will be learning when you reach your grade 12 or college, and you only use that a very small module per week, it is not enough because they haven't provided you some more supplementary materials to enhance your learning, especially you are in first section, HUMSS 1. If I read your work, and even I myself are reading the module, the level of the module is yung budget nanda sa level it weak students to average students, in which medyo kulang sa mga medyo advanced na estudyante. Like for example, in your case, because you are in first section. What I'm saying is, sa inyong part nga HUMSS 1, the module is not enough because you need to learn more on the subject itself. Because my subject is the foundation of few other subjects that you will be learning when you reach grade 12 and of course, first year and second year college. What is foundation? When we are talking about foundation, I am the one who is preparing you intellectually, mentally, and emotionally, psychologically prepared on what it is to come. And that is our last topic, and that is the research report. Why did I use research report? Because that is the most difficult subject that you will be experiencing when you reach grade 12 or even when you reach college. Why difficult? Because research report is more on application to a real life situation, trying to find problems in your community and solve this problem, teaching you how to solve it, teaching you how to look problem. Why is it a problem? Because your opinion doesn't matter. Even your opinion doesn't matter. That it should be everybody's opinion, the general opinion of almost majority. That is what matters. So in short, to make your argument or your opinion matter, you need to conduct a good and reliable research so that your voice can be heard. That's what I'm teaching you. Think intellectually, critically, and prepare you how to voice out your idea with proper collection of concrete evidences and present it in a logical way. So have you noticed that sometimes when you talk to me, I do not accept a certain answer? Like for example, some of your classmates told me to extend the deadline. Have you noticed that? Because I already assess whether you cannot or can do the task. Why? Number one, like I said, you only have few modules left because of the transition or the changes in the schedule of distribution of modules. Number two, there is also in terms of your parents. Your parents understands what is the real situation. Number three, in your case, even though there are problems when it comes to internet connectivity, there's still another solution for that, and that is I suggested you to write first it in a draft. Kuha nyo? And number four is I am not teaching you to become stressed with your work, but I'm teaching you to become an independent student who can think and solve problem on your own. Nakuha niyo man ako. Because in the real world, there is no extension. That's the reality. That's why I am teaching you to value time management and deadline, because in the real world, that is a reality. You do not say, sir, pwede, for example, if you want to become a teacher, because most HUMSS students will become a teacher, that's why some you are taking HUMSS, right? In reality, you cannot say your principal or supervisor or boss na, ma'am, i-extend lang natin ana yung deadline kaya hindi ko pa kaya, iduro ko trabaho diri. No. If you tell that to your principal or to your boss, supervisor, superintendent, or whoever that person is, CEO of a certain company, next time, that person will not trust you enough to do the work done. He will give it to another person that he can trust and then leave you behind because he knows that you're weak enough to do the task. Now you understand me what is the reality of this world.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I know some of you here are complaining, especially to Sir Marcelino, because Sir Marcelino, we are talking and asking me if I could extend the deadline, extend your output into how many days. I accept late, but when it comes to deadline, I do not move the deadline. The deadline is still the deadline, but I am still accepting late. In your case, all you need to do is how to think of a way on making sure that you will, whatever happens, try to achieve that deadline. But if you cannot, but still I accept it. But you already know what is the essence of the deadline. It is up to you who will if you value deadline or not. Same thing with research. Because research is all about credibility, integrity, honesty. The research will tell you how to do that kind of process in a scientific and a step-by-step way, in an accurate, detailed way. So now let's begin with a basic understanding regarding the topic that I gave you, the first module, and that is preparation on how to write a a research instrument. When we are talking about research, so let me show you. Entire screen ko na lang para mas madali. So when we are talking about, research instrument, the research instrument is a tool that you will be using when you try to collect data if you want to conduct a research. So we have few examples of it. But when you are talking about it, it doesn't mean that you are preparing for what? Academic writing. No, you are using this research not just for academically, but to have a reliable or information about your trying to find an answer to a certain problem. So when we talk about research and a tool, which is the research instrument, it is a tool to gather data on the topic that you are interested in. Have you noticed that in your module, I asked you to choose what topic would you like among of the 5 examples of the topic I gave you? Have you noticed that? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
I
Yes,
asked you to choose because if you do not like a certain topic, you don't have a motivation to look and give your best in conducting that research, because the research takes a lot of time, lot of energy, and even lot of mental and intellectual work. So that's why if you are interested of a certain topic, then those things will no longer stressful, because what you like motivates you to push and continue on doing what you are doing. So when you are conducting a research, you need to prepare, learn how to prepare, and implement appropriate instrument to gather data that you need. So if you have a certain problem that you wanted to research on, you need to think and you need to choose what is the appropriate and suitable research instrument that is better to come up with a very reliable and credible result. You're going to think that way. And not just because your classmate, si classmate ko, ang anang gingamit is survey, ma-survey man ako. Si classmate ko nga isa, anang gingamit, ma-observation ako, ma-observation man ako. Ay, itong isa, gali, ang ginubra na, nag-interview siya, ma-interview man ako. Pero how sure are you that that kind of instrument is suitable and appropriate for the topic that you chose in collecting data? Paano nyo ma-collect or paano nyo ma-extract an answer sang inyong respondents or participants nga you expect a better answer and a good answer. Sometimes you are looking for an answer nga sa tingin mo amo yun ang answer, but actually it's not. Iba gali ang resulta. For example, in your case, sabi niyo useful ang Facebook. That's your opinion. Pero pag-gather mo't mga ideas mo from other people, nagwa gali sa resulta, hindi gali useful ang Facebook. Because there are lots of negative that happens when you are doing Facebook. Yes, that's the purpose and the essence of research instrument. You need to learn how to choose what type of instrument you will use in conducting research. Mas kung gusto mo mas grabe pa ang magwa sa research mo, pwede ka kapili kung nano nga research instrument gamiton mo. Kung mas klaro pagid, pwede ka gamit 2 research instrument. Pwede man 1. Pwede man combine all. If you plan it carefully. It will help the writer collect necessary information, formulate appropriate result, and ensure its validity and reliability, because it addresses your questions, the problem itself. So we have few examples of research. But before that, let us first guide you on how to prepare research instrument. There are a few guidelines only. First thing first is, of course, since you already have a topic, you need to familiarize what are the different types of research instrument, especially in either computer or in the library. Because there are a lot of examples of instrument that can be found in the computer, online sources, and the library. You do not choose just because that is an instrument, then you follow the format of an instrument. Kailangan mo iplano itmayad kung ano itsura sa imong instrument. Then talk to a person who is knowledgeable in preparing research instrument. Who could that be? The person is either the teacher or anybody who is knowledgeable when it comes to research instrument making. Learn also how to prepare and administer that type of instrument. How do you write it? How do you give your instrument? You need to plan it out. May nagpamangkot sa ako na classmate, ma'am, pwede ma'am na diri ko na lang sa messenger ipadala ang akong instrument. Sabi ko, yes, you can, because if that is your plan, to make it easy access of answering, or you were able to get the answer from your respondent, then you can ask follow-up questions if you must. You can still do it. There are some instances na pwede man na gina-click lang mala. Paano yun obra? Gamitan niya Google Forms. May ara naman na nag-print gidya. And gintao ng printed instrument para ansiran. So, what about you in your case? How do you prepare? How do you administer? How do you give it to your respondents? Plan. You need to think, what would be a better way for you? Clarify your research question. Be sure that the research instrument will directly address your specific research question. Meaning, before you create your research instrument, you have prepared a few questions connected to your problem or topic, and then come up with a series of, you chop it down to a series of ideas that you wanted to create in your research instrument. For example, in my research study, the action research, this action research is actually same thing with what you are doing right now. Na naging gamit ko, test questionnaire, di ba? Na-notice nyo? Oh, ang topic ko is ang pinaka-problem subong sa mga estudyante is how to write a research report. That's what I believe. So that's what I'm interested in. So I choose that topic. Second is, I created at least 2 to 3 statements or research question about research report. Students writing research report. Okay, what is the performance of students in research report? Before. What about after? And then, is there an improvement? So those are the specific topics or the specific research questions that I'm asking myself. And then I was able to come up and create a research instrument. And my research instrument is your tests. Have you noticed that? Nagets nyo na?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's research instrument to determine what is your performance prior to the official answering of module. And then I will also create another research instrument by the end to determine if you really were able to understand the whole essence of research report. So you need to address specific research question. So now, once you already collected the data, have you noticed? I already collected your data. Based on the data that you need, you decide the number of people whom you want to be your respondents. I chose you. Why did I choose you? Because I know that HUMSS 1 needs more learning about research reporting because you are in the first section. At the same time, HUMSS has a big shoe to fill in. So how many are you? 38, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I decided 38 students. Second, I also decided students who are willing to participate with the consent of their parents. Third, students who are willing to use ELT or emerging learning technologies. And then the next one is, of course, you who are willing to do everything and do not let interferences bother you. So I have 4 reasons that makes me decide who will be my respondents. So have you noticed only Roy Flores is the one who is not part of this research because his mother will not allow him to become a participant of the study. The next one is you need to choose or prepare your instrument using appropriate format. So for example, if you choose a multiple choice test, then make sure that you follow the proper format of multiple choice testing. If you prefer using Likert scale, then you can. When you're talking about Likert scale, yung 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 checklist. Okay, and or if you prefer, it's much better to look for a model, what type of instrument you will be using. Don't worry, I will teach you later on how to create some different examples of research instrument via internet, not just focusing on writing or typing then printing. No, there are lots of ways that you can do in order for you to create your online research instrument, and then that person will no longer have difficulty in answering and gathering the data. Okay, more on internet na lang dayon. Make sure to edit your instrument properly by showing it to a person who has experience in writing an instrument. The reason for that is how sure are you that your research instrument is enough, is good, can extract reliable information. Naka-align gid man ba siya sa imong mga topic? Appropriate gid man ba ang sentence construction mo? How about your grammar? How sure are you that grammar is okay? Sometimes, kung magsala ang grammar mo, it can create misconception. When you are talking about misconception, the reader of your research instrument cannot understand what you are trying to ask them. That's why you need to make sure to ask somebody to edit your instrument. Anybody who is an expert on making instrument. So,
Ako lang doon.
kindly mute the microphone, please. Okay. So once you're done with the research instrument, the editing, in reality, your research instrument is not yet valid. Bakit? Kailangan mo pa mangita it mga tao na itao mo yung instrument nyo for pilot testing. Ano yung essence of pilot testing? When you are talking about pilot testing, you will find a participant or respondent or people, at least 25 to 30 people, to answer your research instrument. Once they answer the research instrument, gather it, and conduct a phase and content validity. Reliability. Ginatanaw kung reliable gid man ang imong research instrument. Because kung hindi mo pag i-pilot testing on, how sure are you na taga statements is tama? How sure are you nga suitable yon siya sa gimpili mo nga respondent? That's the purpose of pilot. Kailangan mo anay ipatesting siya sa similar mo sa respondent na kapareho iti mong gimpili nga respondent. For example, grade 11, HUMSS 1 ang imong gimpili nga respondent. Dapat i-pilot mo gidoon sa grade 11 HUMSS man, pero hindi mismo sa HUMSS 1, kundi sa HUMSS 2 lang. Bakit? Kasi may connection ang HUMSS 1 at HUMSS 2. HUMSS sila, grade 11 man sila, ag same man sila at number of students, it HUMSS 1. May qualification ka mo. Sa qualification mo, dapat halos pareho sa imo nga gimpili nga respondents. To make sure that your research instrument is reliable. So that's why you need to conduct a pilot testing. Remember in your last activity that I asked you to look for at least 20 respondents or 5 participants to answer your questions and questionnaire? Diba? Kita niyon? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So that is one way of checking your instrument, whether your instrument is reliable or not. Kailangan nyo pa ni edit. Assessment pala ko, gimpanarate ko kaninyo, di ba? Ang resulta. Because ginatanaw gid man dito base sa inyong result ag sa inyong assessment kung reliable gid man ang instrument na ginobra nyo. In preparation for your official distribution of your research instrument if you start with your official conducting of research. Now you understand what is the essence of the first lesson. So that is, you need to make it sure that your research instrument is reliable and credible. So as you can see in number 8, after piloting, make necessary revisions, write your final research instrument, number 9, and the last is prepare to conduct the research using your official and final research instrument. Amuon siya kaote, kung mag-ubra ka, iti mo nga research report. Same thing with me. We started last December in writing the proposal of research. The validity and the reliability of research, I gave it to the English teachers. Nakapreyoma ka na ako ni English teachers so that there are some revisions. And then I gave it to you, making sure to get a good, reliable result. Now, based on your scores, majority has 30 plus. Why di ka abot bisan at least 40 man lang or 45 as expected? Why? Because it's a pre-test, meaning diagnostic test. I want to know what will be the diagnosis of your understanding on how to write a research report. And based on my prognosis, you only have an average understanding on how to write research report. Bakit average? Kasi hasta lang ka mo sa 30 plus, 35, 33, 32, 31, may lesser pa gani. What may nakaabot higher than that? Pag number kasi kaon is exceed expectation. But in your case, naka-average ka mo, nakatunga-tunga ka mo. And that's good. Meaning, you have at least understanding what really is a research report. But by the end of this this action research, I do hope that you can achieve at least exceed expectation or even outstanding performance in the concept of research report. Now let's proceed. So we have few examples of types: the survey questionnaire, the interview, the observation, the experimentation, and the personal experience. Actually, from what I've seen, most of you already understand what are these few examples of research instrument. So now let's proceed first to the survey. When you're talking about the survey, ano ang unang nag-add to sa ulo nyo when you're talking about the survey? Give me an example of a situation that there is a survey trying to conduct a survey. Who can answer? Somebody? Give me a certain situation. Or marol call ako. Let's see. Angel. Labto. Who are you? Angel? Angel? Dula si Angel ay? Cristel Joy.
For me, ma'am, ilang opinion, yung the opinion of others, ma'am. Survey.
Opinion?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, pwede rin siyang opinion. Okay, and one more. Jessa.
Like, kung nagkakanda ka, ma'am, sa study, ma'am, nagkapanghatag ka sa questionnaire, tapos ginapa-answeran mo sa ila based on their opinion and understanding.
Okay, I've noticed that though na familiar lang ka mo regarding sa school conducting of the research kasi amo anong ginaobra sa mga last year and the other year other students. Nakaagi man ka mo ko on answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
But have you experienced somebody that you do not know, like in the mall, give you a leaflets and have you answered it or may gimbakal ka mo tapos may ginapa-answer ka ninyo after bakal nyo?
Yes,
Kagi ka
ma'am.
maka. Okay, so that's an example of a survey questionnaire. That's an example of a survey questionnaire. A survey questionnaire doesn't mean that kailangan lang yun ang itsura sa survey questionnaire yung mga checklist lang. No. There are lots of ways how to write a survey questionnaire. Because a survey questionnaire is a planned questions which are used to measure the attitude, perceptions, and opinions of the vast number of participants or respondents. What do you mean by vast? Kadamuon. Majority. Many people. So that's why survey questionnaire gani siya. Survey. What pulos ang gin-survey mo kung ang survey mo lang 5, 10, 15. Because it's not majority or it's not what majority thinks. Few people thinks taon siya. So it's supposed to be majority meaning halos tanan. Halos, kung pwede, kaduruhon. So that, for example, in your case, whole HUMSS 1. Then that's the majority perception and opinion of almost whole HUMSS 1. Next. Siyempre, it should always relate to questions. And you do not need just to focus on choices when you are making survey questionnaire because there are lots of ways to write a survey questionnaire. It could be either multiple choice test, dichotomous test. Pag ginaba mo dichotomous means 2 options like yes or no, tama or mali. Diba? That's dichotomous. Or sometimes you can also use checklist na 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Or you can even ask open-ended question. Sari-sari tayo survey questionnaire. That's why think what type of survey questionnaire you're going to write. Mano ka? Ma-checklist ka nga 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or 3, 2, 1 or 4, 3, 2, 1. Sino STEM STE dire? Pag college, junior high school.
Yes, ma'am. Ako,
Sino
ma'am.
nakabiro ng STE?
7 or 8.
7 or 8? Okay, sa 7 or 8, ang STE, nag-conduct man ka mo it survey questionnaire?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am. Give me an example in your class pag-conduct niyo sa survey questionnaire, using survey questionnaire.
Last time, ma'am, sa nagkanda kami sa study, ang try naman is excellency. About sa checklist man, ma'am, kung kung ano ang effective, kung ano ang mas effective. Though,
Sa anong,
number 1 to 5 lang, ma'am.
Experiment ina sa?
Yes, ma'am.
Ano nga klaseng experiment? Oh, ga-checklist kimang kamukaan based on your observation. Like for example, sa water, abe. Ang water, you want to determine when it comes to its clarity. You can choose 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or 3, 2, 1. Checklist, 1, 2, 3. Kung 3 is very clear, mga
Yeah.
kuha? Na.
Yes, ma'am.
So, this is another way. Galing, ang ginubra ta kaon, iya ta trabaho it ng researcher, di ba?
Yes, ma'am.
That's the difference between a survey questionnaire to what you are doing. What you're doing is, nag-ubra ka mo checklist through observation. But it's not a survey questionnaire. Even though pareho siya nga checklist, but in your case, which is the experiment, kamutin nyo ang nag-checklist or nag-check. So that's experiment, one-on-one. But the survey questionnaire, ang ga-answer ta kaon, ang respondent naging pili mo. Which is, kung sino man pila kabilog na sila. That's the difference between the two. That's why medyo ma-confuse ka mo kaon. Haman naga-checklist akon diri sa nanay kaibahan sa survey questionnaire ay nag-checklist man ang gamit ko diri sa experiment. Checklist man ana, pero lain tay respondent na akon ta diri amo ta jay ginubra ko. Because ang imong questionnaire is checklist, but what you did is an experimentation using checklists. It is a type of questionnaire. It's not a survey questionnaire. It's just a type of questionnaire. That's the difference. But when you are talking about a survey questionnaire, you're talking about a vast number of your respondents. Sometimes it is quantifiable. When you're talking about quantifiable, pwede siya ma-isip. Or sometimes qualitative way, or meaning narrative. Okay, so now let's proceed to the other one. The interview. Now the interview. When we are talking about the interview, other people may think that ang questionnaire hindi masyado manami, may kakulangan ng questionnaire. Ang nag-focus lang gid ang questionnaire sa amudya nimo nga gimpili nga mga ideas na bulanon. But ang interview, mas manami kuno siya, haman, kay pwede ka ka-follow up question para ma-dig mo deeper ang pinakagrabe nga problem na hindi ma-answeran sa questionnaire. May point ang interview, may point man ang questionnaire. That's why, hambal ko gali again you need to think what is a better way. Pwede ba is questionnaire man or interview? Because an interview is an instrument that allows researcher to qualitatively gather data. Pag inambal mong qualitatively, you try to record, you try to videotape all the word-for-word answer of your participants. Even ang pagkipot at mata or even ang iya pagginhawa, it matters. Bakit? Sometimes it affects the answers of the respondent. Kung ikaw mismo, makitaan mo ang iyang pag-answer is a lie, And you can see it directly on that person's face, if that person is telling the truth or not. So that's the purpose of an interview. It always focuses on an open-ended questions. And of course, you are expecting for an open-ended answers. Kung sa tingin mo kulang ang iya sabat, follow-up question. It doesn't matter kung English man siya, Tagalog man siya, or Bisaya man siya. Bakit? If that person na ginapamangkutan mo is more comfortable with English, then use English. Because he can express his ideas in that manner. Pero kung hindi siya comfortable, use the language that he is comfortable in. An opinion or ideas or even belief. So, but before you start your interview, make sure you prepared it properly. Hindi mo siya pag-adtunan para sa ginobrat mga estudyante, tiban ba o nakikibot lang ako kisa. Bakit? Ma'am, pwede di ka interview? Amo na lang pamangkuton. Amba ko, when we are talking about interview, you need to learn the proper protocol conducting an interview. Of course, you ask permission in a respectful way, whether in verbal or in written form. Once it is being approved, then make sure to follow the stages of interview. Hindi ka lang mag-question it. Imong question naging prepare insigida. No. Man sigurado ka nga amo yun anang tama nga sabat. Base gusto niya malang ma-answer lang siya para matapos yun diyang interview. It affects the answer. Bakit? Kung ikaw mismo nagatawag ako sa Bisaya, ambush. Kung ambush ka sa isa ka tawo nga ma-interview kanimo, syempre makibot ka, especially ang tawo nga hindi ka kilala. Sabton ka malang na, nakaunit na padali-dali. Pa-easy-easy. Para lang matapos siya. So, naka-create ang manaming result? No, of course not. Because either yung pabuangan kaniya or natakan sa kanimo magsabat. Or ayaw niya sa'yo. But if you follow the proper way of conducting an interview na may para kaanay nga pre-interview stage, nung syempre magalang ka, greetings muna, and then pakilala ka. It's basic. Warm-up stage, mga question na nagpa-lighten the mood. Bisan mag-joke pagani ka mo, it's okay. Just make sure to lighten the mood and make sure that that person will trust you. And making sure that your question is properly, kumbaga, secured ang i-answer. Nobody can know his or her answer before you proceed to the main interview. Para masigurado mo gid ng iya sabat is a very constructive and based gid sa iya nga minatuod nga feelings or opinions. And of course, you end it with a closing stage, which learn how to properly close it. In what way? Thanking the person for giving you his or her time. Nailabot nabi kanimo. Pwede man ta siya kanimo nga. Bagati mo dyan. At least kintawan ka na at oras na. So that's the interview. Medyo mabudlay ang interview, but it's a good way of gathering data. Another one is observation. This is what most of the experiment is being done. Review at may kulang man sa survey questionnaire. Like for example, nano itsura sa maestra kung nagaklase siya? I-take note yun siya. Amo dyan, ginaubrat na maestra, paano siya maglakat, paano siya maghambal, paano siya magsulat, paano communicate sa classmates, sa students niya. Those observations that cannot be answered via words or via checklist. Or sometimes you can even use observation to cross-validate your result. For example, nag-conduct ka sang interview sa isa ka parent ag sa isa ka student. Ginapabangkot mo ang estudyante kung paano siya mag-study sa balayda. Amo jay sabat estudyante kung magstuon siya. Sa milog lang siya sa kwarto, ga-take down note siya, ga-internet siya, bla 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 bla. Si nanay naman nagsabat siya nga ang anang unga daon sa kwarto na kisawa siya kuno gatuon. How am I going to sure? How am I going to make sure that kung sino sa duwa ang tama nga? Cross-validate. Observe. Either you'll be the one to observe or somebody they don't know will observe. And then based on that, sulat mo ang imong result, then cross-validate it, compare the 3 answers kung di nang minatuod. Oo, may mga few hours nag-adto ang bata sa class sa kwarto na para magtuon, amo dyan obra na. Tapos hindi gali makitaan sang parent na gatuon nga na kasi may trabaho gali ang parent na gamuni nga oras amo nga balit nag-observe. Useful when the answer of the research question required description of behavior or settings. Especially if you wanted to know more about a certain matter. Nakita nyo man kung kisa, di ba, may mga observation sa klase nyo nga ang maestra nyo ginatanaw principal or assistant principal. Di ba? Kita nyo man nun?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Na-assess kami ka brain. Either may ara ginatawag nga participants observation, meaning daon siya sulod classroom mag-participate as one of the observation, meaning hindi siya participant pero madami. Instrument nga na questionnaire, interview, or observation. The next is experiment. When we are talking about experiment, it's a procedure undertaken scientifically and systematically to make discover, to test hypothesis. So when you are talking about hypothesis, may ara ka mong theory and you wanted to make sure that that theory is, of course, true. So you will make an observation, you are going to develop hypothesis, few hypothesis, mga imong theory, and then decide what kind of experiment you're going to use. For example, in my case, this is an experimentation, what I'm doing to you right now, the action research. It's an experiment. Mga STE doesn't mean na experiment lang it inyong ginaubra, nga gaubra ka mo sa science lab, aga mo jay ubrahon nyo, or may i-develop ka mo. No, it's not like that. You can also have an experiment in a science laboratory or any way. Even in school, you can do that. Like in my case, this action research is actually a method of experimentation. Why? Because I make an observation through my students of how hard action research writing is. And based on my observation, I was able to come up with an hypothesis that students have difficulty grasping and learning how to write research report. So therefore, that is my hypothesis. Then I designed a method on how am I going to do it. By thinking, by creating a module, experiment this module to a HUMSS 1 student, incorporate this module, making sure or not in teaching students, especially during pandemic. Then I try to once we are done. Then in my case, I will accept or reject my hypothesis. So my hypothesis probably it is true based on the post-test that you have problem in writing research report. Because average lang. Bakit average? Meaning, what you've learned in your junior high school is not enough. So that's why my hypothesis is accepted. So in the other naman na case, amo ang ginaobra sa mga STE, they tried to conduct an experiment whether to accept and reject their hypothesis. Gani, ang ginaobra sa experiment, may mga computation yaon. Kung 0.01 or 0.05, they will either reject or accept the hypothesis result. Tool, right? STE? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Can you provide me an example of some statistical tool that focuses on differences? Getting the differences between two variables?
Mean, ma'am.
What?
T-test, ma'am.
T-test. ANOVA or 3 to more than 2. That's the differences. So,
T-test, ma'am.
using t-test or determine whether you accept or reject the hypothesis result, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's why sooner or later you will also be learning that in your statistics subject. You will statistics is connected to research writing or research writing. Madali lagi tayaon ang statistical tool. Why? Sa mga hindi mayad, sa computation, may ginatawag kita nga SPSS. I will show you an example of that later. Experience in which you can share your personal experience or your, what do you call this? If you want to appropriate topic in writing your goals and an audience, more on own experiences on. You are trying to research your own personal experience. Parang biography. Pwede yun. Okay, so that's the connection when it comes to that's the essence of our work. Whether you choose a survey, a questionnaire, an interview, an observation, an experiment, or a personal experience. Pwede ka mo kagamit isa, dua, or tanan nga instrument, but making sure that na plano mo itmayad, naman amuyaon siya, ong gamiton nimo. Experiment, you can use one or two. So observation, of course, observation lang, which is one. Pero kung mag-survey ka, you can either use a majority. Observation, interview, questionnaire. Kung mag-interview ka, of course, you can use interview only. Pero kung gusto mo gidya nga mas grabe ang imong sabat, pero sa mga PhD program yung taon siya, you can use mixed method, which is halos tanan gamiton mo. May experiment ka, ma-observe ka, may interview ka, ma-survey ka pagit. Hindi yun kamo ko, mabublayan kamo ka. But ginapakita ko lang kanino that it can be done. You can use maturity, multiple. Try to master one or two research instruments so that later on you will learn how to use, interpret the result based on your instrument. But that you have a problem in your warming up stage, isulat mo dire sa context 1 and context 2 ang mga questions. But what makes different? What is the difference of the interview questions you be using in research and what is the interview question you are using in the but na graphic again the research pa lang sa question sa showbiz report. And then what? Mabala ang kaibahan. Paano make sure to edit? Make sure writing. This one is there's some fuse. Wait, loading ba? Loading, no? Loading.
Hello, ano ma'am?
Loading? O, daan yan.
Reloading, ma'am.
This checking of understanding modify. Ara na. Modified true or false ninyo. Ang ibang yung pabayaan lang dyan. Bakit? All you need to do is to change. Balik ka muliwat sa ginabasa nyo, but you need to answer this one. When conducting research instrument, always ensure confidentiality of participants. That is true. One of the advantages of using questionnaire, lowest response rate. That is false. Highest response rate. Number 3, open-ended questions aim to specific information such as age, address, and participants. No, it's not an open-ended question, but a questionnaire. That's a profile. Intelligence consent form must be filled out by participants before the experiment. Yes. Subjects known are being observed during the covert observation. What is covert? Nobody knows that you are observing. Nagapanago ka, covert gani. So meaning, subjects do not know. This is overt observation. An experiment cannot be replicated. Of course, it can be replicated. Warming up stage is a stage which respondents are asked to take basic physical exercises. Hindi. Bakit physical exercises? Ano ka mo ay nag-exercise dyan, nagalumpat-lumpat, jumping jack, sa warm-up stage ng interview? No. So meaning, ang ubraon mo diri, questions to lighten the mood. Leading question must be asked because they guide participants into giving specific answer for the research questions. Of course, all research instruments have advantage and disadvantage. Tanan sila may advantage, tanan sila may weaknesses. A research instrument is used to analyze data, and that is true. So in your case, you're able to choose among these examples of topic, and then I ask you to write a general question based on the topic. Tama itong nakita ko sa inyo mga classmates. General question, online games. And next, I ask you also to choose whether you either use interview or questionnaire. I only use 2 because in your case, which is HUMSS, most of you are using interview or questionnaire. Why ka mo masyado experiment? Amo nang iyong final output na matabo, mag-abot ko mo sa grade 12. So sa interview, I asked for 5 to 8 questions. And survey questionnaire, I asked for 20 to 30 statements. Okay. So I've noticed, ang ibang majority ka ninyo nagamit survey questionnaire na Likert scale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's okay, but making sure that you use appropriately. Kaya mo ko masyado, karang opinionated yun tadya. Ang diri lang nga part akong gusto ka ninyo. Because this is more of a test of reliability, the evaluating learning. Okay, let me show you an example of your classmates' answer. Only 23 students were able to submit. Let's try. Kita nyo, makita nyo dali, oh. Late. Kita nyo pangalan nyo? Kung sino late? But turned it on time, makita nyo man. Let's try one of your classmates. Okay, they're checking for understanding. So these questions, your general topic is your focus in social media and instant fame. Then your general topic is for the good benefit form. Benefits. So, kung tanawan ko siya, it's really connected. Was able to ask, after being famous in social media, what changes your life? How does famous in social media helps you? As a teenager, is it important for you to be famous in social media and why? When did you find out that you're already famous in social media? This one, you need to edit this because this one is a basic question that should be answered before prior. And you need to change a much deeper questions to answer the good benefits of being famous. Do you consider yourself famous? That's another question. However, I've noticed that the way you struck with your question here is more on showbiz report interview. Bakit? Bakit siya showbiz report? The way you ask your question, para siyang show business. More on entertainment. You need to ask more questions related to personal life. You need to ask question, what happened to the family, friends, at home, mga nakaon nga lugar. You also need to ask you need to organize this from the most important to the least important. Or pwede man organize mo from the least important to the most important. Pero it's better from the most important to the least important. So that is what example of this, and use interview. Next, let's try this. Sino na nito? Judarel? Jude? Jude? Hindi si Jude. Mr. Loyola? Mr. Loyola? Hello? Mabalaan ko gid bala akong kapamati ka mo kung wala.
Ma'am,
Turn on your camera, abe.
ma'am, bandi nag-aalay ka mo, nagalagi ka, ma'am. Medyo
Turn on
hindi ko
your camera.
maintindihan.
Hamba ko turn on your camera.
Ma'am, ayaw ko, ma'am.
Turn on your camera, please. Okay, the way you write your your paragraph here, it's merely more on your, parang imong opinion eh. Jods, batian mo ako? Jods. Ring kayon. Kadula naman siya. Opinionated ang inubra dire nimo. Hindi ka magsulat nga that you are part of what you are discussing. Dapat ang pagsulat kara is mismo ang tao nga to ang nagasulat. For example, nag-introduce ka. Ay, change ko na lang kung sino nga dyan. Catherine, daw ka?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Bati kayo. Okay, let's start with evaluating. Gamay, abi obra mo. Okay, so ang gingamit ni Catherine is survey questionnaire. Daria, survey questionnaire, oh. Likert scale ang gingamit niya, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Always, often, sometimes, rarely, never. 20 items. The topic is Facebook and privacy. General question is, do students protect their privacy on Facebook? So, for example, yes statement, I use Facebook, I change password, I do not let anyone know. Actually, tanigin pasubrahan mo dyan, no, Catherine? Kasi
Yes,
you don't
ma'am.
need to write, I use Facebook, kasi dapat diri lang taon sa profile ni mo gimbutang. Bakit?
Okay, ma'am.
This is a basic question. I use Facebook, yes or no malang on. Siyempre, ang imong ginapangita ang mga estudyante nga may nagagamit at Facebook. Di ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Number 2 is correct. Number 3, I don't let anyone know my email or password. That's correct. I am aware of Facebook security policies. That's correct. I accept strangers on Facebook. Pwede rin yan. I share my personal address in Facebook. Pwede rin yan. Share personal plans. Click unknown. Pwede rin to. Poll in public. Pwede. Poll is not, parang hindi siya. Kay Paul, choices lang. Follow unknown pages. Okay, pwede yun siyang imo mga statements nga ra. And if you've noticed, ang inubra ni Catherine, nag-start siya sa I. Padakuan ko ha. I follow. I like, I post, I share, I only, because if the reader reads this or the responders reads this, respondents, so, the way he reads it, parang he is asking himself, what am I doing? Am I, or I change my password in Facebook? So you are asking yourself. The reader is asking themselves. So this is a correct way to write a survey questionnaire. Kasi gani, ikaw mismo kapabangkot sa kagalingon. You pa-ask first-person point of view. So based on the result, here is the result. Okay, so here's the result. You don't need to start with high school life, get a new way of creating or password, blah, blah, blah. That's understandable because that is already the result.
Okay.
Bakit? Based on the result, amo lang on ang diretso mo. Based on the result, this is correct. Based on the survey that was conducted last year, blah, 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 on 12 students of the age 12 to 20 years old, which would have Facebook, based on your result, how many students protect their privacy?
Yes, ma'am.
Using a Likert scales, it shows majority of students always use Facebook. Siyempre, same mo result, number 1 pala to eh. While 14 of the students says they are always aware of Facebook policies and rarely change their password. May concrete evidence ka. So 14 students change their password. 20 students, out of 20 students, nandiyan, 1 student always share personal address on Facebook. Pwede dyan. 7 says they never share their personal addresses. Galing ang na-notice ko lang kanimo, Miss Catherine, gininisa-isa mo gid, di ba? Tama ako? Miss Catherine, ginisa-isa mo gid siya. But this is actually okay. This is correct. Kasi you have only few numbers of respondents that you choose from. Pero kung magamit kasi there's a concrete way of analyzing data. Paano mo gid siya masigurado?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Na you don't need to write 1 or 2 students is like this. Kay, for example, kung 100 ang imo estudyante, mambay ka, 20 students rarely use Facebook. No. You need to get a general picture. Do not give specific isa-isa.
Okay, ma'am.
And what
Noted.
I will be teaching you that in the next module. But the way you discuss your portfolio, this is okay na. Bakit okay? Because you are able to create a factual evidences based on your data that you've gathered. That's okay na. But if you want to get a general picture, yes?
So, like, okay na siya and then need na lang siya for revision?
Yes. You need for revision, but it's okay lang muna for now. Ang inobra mo subong is, kumbaga tanaw mo kung diin ang mga statements nga reliable ag hindi reliable. If you've noticed na hindi siya reliable ang statement number 1. Kasi ang topic mo ga-focus na sa Facebook and privacy. Kama?
Yes, ma'am.
Tanaw mo lang dire kung diin dire ang pwede ginasabat at mga estudyante. Di na mga statements dire ang wa nanda masyado ginasapa. Amo nang i-assess mo. So di dire ang mga statements na irison ko. Agbaylohan ko. Kuha mo?
Yes, ma'am.
Kaya mo dyan ang sabat it mga estudyante. Okay, so meaning, isa lang ka student ang nag-share some personal address niya. Hindi siya gali masyado reliable kasi ang bilog mo lang man ang student tira. So, dapat kay uhon ko ito't mayad ang structuring na. Tapos next naman, 7 lang ang never share address. 6 students address rarely and 2 students often and 2 students sometimes. So, this one, halos tanan sila nagsabat.
Yes, ma'am.
Pero iba-iba lang. So, meaning, naka-hindi sila. So, meaning, balance, okay siya. Ang matabo bala ka, Catherine, kailangan mo nga magkuha sang mean score sa taga statement of the problem. Do you know what is mean score? Add all the answer divided by
the number
of students.
Okay.
For example, statement number 1, ano yung answer nanda? 5, 3, 2, 4. Add that divided by number of students. Kuha mo?
Okay, ma'am. Yes,
Sa
ma'am.
statement number 1, 20 students answer. Add all 20 answers, then divided by 20 to get the mean score of statement 1. So if you get the mean score, makitaan mo man dyan kung pwede siya klaseng statement. So that's how you write your portfolio for this one. So okay na ni siya para mabalaan ang reliability and of the questionnaire. So meaning in this case, may i-edit ka lang nga gamay and then pwede mo na magamit ang imong questionnaire for your official conducting of your research. And then,
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
next is your last part.
Uy.
Magamay lang abi ang imong obra.
Yes. Ma'am, pwede, since naka-PDF na siya, pwede PDF file na lang ako ibutang sa portfolio, ma'am?
Bakit PDF? Hindi na okay na dyan. Di, okay yun dyan. Imong last part is wrong. Why? My instruction specifically said that all you need to do is to focus on the methodology part. Naka-highlight din siya, meaning illustrate the setup of the research through flow chart or a poster, then upload the meaning sabihin kaon, nano ang pagpasunod it method naging ubra it researcher using the methodology. So the methodology can be found here.
Okay.
Subject, instrument, procedure. So from that subject to instrument procedure, that is your methodology or methods. So you're going to read this properly. Dapat tanan dya. Tanan ka mo nga HUMSS 1. Read this properly. Ano ang method, mga method niya na sulat and a step-by-step process. Na ng first step niya, second step niya, third step niya, fourth step, hasta sa last step. Naget mo? Nagets niyo?
Yes, ma'am.
Na. So,
Yes,
amuyaon siya ang inyo nga ubrahon sa inyo nga flowchart. So, if you notice, your flowchart here is wrong. Kasi you started with an abstract. Understandable man dya nga amo dya ang process sa research. But it's not the method. Kasi gusto ko makita kung maintindihan nyo kung paano magsulat at kung ano ang process sa pag-conduct sang research by reading the method. Nakuha niyo?
Yes,
Who
ma'am.
still cannot understand? Sino may question? Sino pa dyan? Okay, so let's reflect. There's nothing wrong with this because that's only a reflection.
Yes.
Okay, last na lang. Sino? Kay Angel. Kasi evidence. Okay, ang vlog mo gali is kung dali lang ha. Cellphone lang yung kara magamit ko. Stop sharing ano ko. Kay sino dyan? Crystal na lang.
Ma'am.
Yeah. Wait. Share screen. Kay may ala dabing naggamit ng mga classmate ka mo nga ang gamit nila is for app lang for cellphone. Kita nyo?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
For understanding. Okay, so for checking for understanding, dire kita sa second activity. Okay, so social media and instant fame. Din pili. So what is the impact of social media and being famous to the teenagers today's generation? This general question is correct. But later on, Ms. Cristel, you need to specify this general question to specific question. Make at least 2 to 3 specific question. Kumbaga, divide mo siya into 3 portion or 2 portion ng imong general question. So your question focuses on what was the feeling of being complement of social media. Being attached in social media, does it boost your self-confidence? Have you ever felt pressure on the photos that you are uploading or the status that you are shared in social media? What are the feeling of being famous in social media? So meaning, ang piliin mo karang respondents mo is mga famous sa social media. Tama ako, Cristel?
Yes, ma'am.
May nakita kayo na tawa kung sino kara pwede?
Yes.
Nga famous sa social media? Dapat may criteria ka kara kung sino ang famous sa social media. Like for example, ang doro nga viewers sa YouTube or sa TikTok. Social media yun ulit.
Ma'am, sa Facebook lang ko ma'am,
Hindi ka lang basta-basta sa Facebook kay ang Facebook like lang yaon siya pero pag inambal mo hindi mo nga famous sa social media ang daw may kwandid siya may kumbaga na-recognize gid siya na damo-damo gid dia popularity gid siya medyo kilala gid siya kung sa Facebook lang siya hindi masyado di ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Kay puro like lang man ang daon yun sa Facebook. Sino kita na nakikita nga popular sa Facebook. Pero mas ma-understand ko pa kung sa TikTok or sa YouTube man or sa Instagram. Mabudlayan ka kanda, Cristel. Kay popularity contest yung imong inubra. Bakit? Qualification mo lagi famous. Di ba? Si Sir Melson, famous din na. So, number 1 lagi si Sir Melson mo. Oo, famous siya sa TikTok.
Puro students lang labi ako na ma'am, interview mo.
Oo. Makita mo gidya kung sino ang famous. Kaya ginagawa niya ang sandal, daw ginabalik ang mga picture, daw ginabalik ang mga videos. At least famous na lang. Hindi lang na yung puro like lang. Yung makaabot, guro itang damo-damo gid likes. Mabudlayan kasi ni. How can you tell if a person is famous in social media? This number 5, you need to change this. Kasi gani ang imo nga target diri is famous yun siya kag mga implang sa pagiging famous ang imo nga target. Mga impact or benefits niya. So meaning, dyan number 5, you need to revise this. Dapat ang ginabuo mo pagid, not just feelings, but focus na sa all aspects of psychology, which is psychological, mental, emotional, physical. Kuha mo?
Yes, ma'am.
Base mabudlayan kasi ni pero naintindihan mo kung amo giban isa basta pero it's okay lang naman i-interview lang man siya pag inamo mo kasing interview gamay lang gid karang imo nga ginang target participants mo 5 is enough okay so next ikuan ko anay, i-close ko anay. Ibalik ko sa Okay, this is good because you were able to conduct real and concrete evidence by making sure that you were able to record it properly. Pero may I suggest everybody, diyang inyong gin-interview nga ra, medang cover niyo ang face. Diyang gin-interview niyo nga ra, make sure gin-transcribe niyo. Do you know what is transcription? Do you know what is transcription?
No, ma'am.
Transcription is copying word for word or typing word for word what have you recorded. Na.
Okay, ma'am.
Kailangan yun siya kapiyon. Bakit? Kasi kung pamatian mo lang siya, hindi mo siya mabalik kundiin ang mga statements niya. Because later on, I will teach you how to interpret using transcription. Kaya hindi ka lang basta-basta na mabuo ka ng general gist or summary, tandang answer, ang isulat mo dyan. No. Hindi.
Sorry, ma'am.
Kailangan naman ge-echo. Kailangan gidyang i-chap-chapon tanan na ng ginhambal. Bisan gamay nga details ang anang ginhambal, makuan mo gid na ma-assess mo gid na nga maging part it imong discussion. Hindi man kinahanglan na kailangan tanan-tanan gid iya ginhambal isulat mo sa imong discussion. No. May daon ka gid nga i-grupo-grupo sa mga ideas nila para maka-come up ka it imo nga mga general picture about it. Hindi lang anay pagpadalo mo noon kasi medyo mabudlay yaon siya. Basta, pero ituloan ko kaninyo kung paano yaon siya i-discuss in our module 2. Basta, ang first step kaon is write down all the answers word for word, pause, period man, or question man, or pag ginhawa niya, kapihon nyo. Sulat mo dyan, naka-close open parenthesis, na ginhawa siya. Nag-sigh siya. Hi. Sulat mo nun. Kailangan gid. Bakit? Nag-affect gitaon sa imo nga result. Okay. Then, i-grupo-grupo mag-gets ka from idea dyan, ibutang mo naman sa pihak, another respondents, ibutang mo naman sa pihak, i-grupo mo na ang imong ideas ngaon to come up with a general picture. So, this is a good evidence. You're able to come up with a reliable evidence, making sure that your result is concrete. Nano dyan kay...
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, evidence man dyan eh, ano. Hindi ko lang abi makita yung mga wicks. Dali lang ha. I-move ko abi ang imong sa cellphone. Kung magamit ako, sa Blogger ako gagamit. Pakita ko kaninyo ang akong obra nga blog. Give me 5 more minutes and we will end this. Okay, nahinay sa internet. Siga man. Bakit weeks ang pili nyo eh? Sino nabudlayan? Sino
Sorry,
nabudlayan?
confused.
Akong ginagamit, blogger, Star Forecast. Kita nyo? Wala pa.
Wala pa, ma'am, loading.
Loading. Okay na, kita na?
Ma'am. Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so here is your output, Miss Angel. How can you tell if ano imong topic? Sing man, famous man?
Yes, ma'am. Social media and instant fame.
May nang qualified people ka nang napilian na famous gid man?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How can you tell if a person is famous? This one is you need to omit this because you are choosing a famous person. Number 2, do you think being famous has a significant effect? What it might be? Wag muna. What do you think are the factors that affect social media fame? Medyo general question isa. Actually, this is supposed to be the general question mo. Di ba topic?
Okay.
Social media and instant famous. Meaning, ang general question mo, you need to change that. Do you consider yourself famous? This one, pwede pa. First question dyan. How? Second is, next is, what makes a person famous? No need to ask question about this because you're talking about a person who is already famous. Meaning you're looking for statements or ideas of being a famous. What are the factors that affects being famous? Kuha mo? You need to revise all your full questions.
Yes, ma'am.
So always put into mind your general question. Your general question is, what are the factors that affect social media fame? Kuha mo? So that is your general question. Now, you divide those questions into 5 portions regarding social media fame that affects social media fame. This is both positive and a negative aspects. So you need to revise your work. That's why I gave you ahead of time the topic. You need to choose your topic because you're going to focus only on your topic. You're going to ask question based on your topic and your general question. Kung wala ka general question, hindi ka gid kapamangkot itmayad. That's what happened in your question here. So, di ba kamo, writer kamo, right? Sino dire writer sa new sa kwan sa nagataw ko sa inyong insight or sa Filipino? Because you need to learn what are the what questions you're going to ask to your so dapat tama man ang question na ginapamangkot mo sa AI kung dun sa lang question na pamangkot mo siya nanoy pulos. Okay, so that's why what happened in your paragraph here daw kahaba na ang aton mo lang pangita diri is result. Nag-ubra ka essay. So, dapat the result shows, blah, 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 and you don't observe because your method is interview. So, one paragraph, narrative paragraph or two is already enough for your result. Kuha? Clear.
Clear, ma'am.
Next, we'll be showing you some of the examples of the blog that I will be using para mas madali para kaninyo. Okay, I think na nabudlayan ka mo sa mga iba na blogs. I use blog this. Blog. Yeah. So this is the blog I use, that is blogspot.com or blogger.com. Na. And then naka-organize siya based on pag gusto ko po na nung organization. Kung i-square ko siya, i-line up ko siya, or ano ba? Depende yaon kung gusto mo daw newspaper kind or magazines kind, pwede. So, blogger ang gamit ko. Pwede mo ni sa ma-edit based on your work. As you can see, madali siya maintindihan. Amunin sa blogger.com. Madirect na lang tao siya dire. So, this is the blogger.com. Kita nyo? Hindi.
Hindi, ma'am.
So, amo diyang link ko ho, blogspot or blogger.com. Dayon, ang i-click ko on siya, amo dyan itsura na. Pwede siya maging yung newspaper, magazine, or just a box. So, this is an example of the blog. Actually, since ko ano pa dyan blog, halin pa sang high school, college ako, amo pa dyan akong dati nga blog ho. Amo dyan dati ko nga blog. Kita mo, 2012, 2011, 2010. Ang amo dyan daan nga blog, nga nag-evolve na, naging amo na ni ang tsura. Okay. So, based on this example, amo dyan yung gamit ko kasi madali lang siya, kaya madali mo siya ma-edit. Kadto ka lang sa imo nga profile, and the profile is this. So, ang ubra mo lang, though Gmail account siya. Inyo ba lang ako? Gmail gid bala? Ngawa na ka raw. The Gmail account. That's it. Kasi may compose man lang man siya, may mga edit diri sa kilid. So, mas madali siya. Ari ang imong post. That is your post. Amo dyan post ko tanan. Kung gusto mo mag-create, nag-create ka new post, amo pag-design mo, amo ang pag-theme mo. Paano ka mag-create new post? Ang inobra ko, ka-type lang, document. Madali. Email lang siya. Typing email. Lit. So, mas madali siya kay daw Microsoft Office lang. Tapos makitaan mo pa kung ano itsura na preview mo. I-preview mo lang siya. Mas madali mo siya makita. Pag gusto ka sang imo nga layouting, pwede ka design by designing it in this part. Layout, itsura, color, theme, may choices on sa settings. So, for example, amo ni ang layout. Nanay sa kilid mo, paano nanay itsura sa subscription mo, may header ka, may body ka, of course, may footer ka. Pwede yun siya. Nanong sidebar? Ang sidebar is this. Merinil, Joy, Visit, Archive, Repeat, Abuse. That's sidebar. Subscription, search top. Ari, search top. Subscription, dari sa idalo mo. Tapos, ang header, of course, and page body. The header is this. Point. The nostalgia. And the body is this. Pag gusto lang ka mo, mas madali ganil dyang vlogger kaysa sa iban. Ang theme naman, kung kisa pwede ka kapili, may choices man kung anong design ang imong pilion. Contemporary, Soho, Emporo, pag gusto ka kung anong design ang gusto mo. So it's much easier to use blogger.com. Now, if you don't like Blogger, you can also use the Canva that I gave you. Ang Canva, gintaoan ko kamo kara i-link para you can use my premium account for free. Kasi may mga option dire, may choices dire how to design a blog. What? Nagsala ako. How to design a blog. Pak. Then you can create your design. For your blog. Pwede man nun siya ni mo gamiton diri para i-upload sa imong nga design blog. So that's why you can use my Canva account. Sa inyo naman video presentation, pwede man ang Canva. Educational presentation, video presentation can be found below. But I prefer this one. I prefer this. Photon. Bakit? The Photon is a video or animated video presentation so that you can upload it directly to your YouTube account. For example, here, login. Okay, I have 61. Account. Free actually, ja. Galing there are some features na hindi free kasi premium siya. So these are the video presentation that I created. Okay. Samples lang yon. And then I was able to connect it with my YouTube account. So if you notice, ari na siya, color lessons, read blends, comprehension, preschool alphabet. Na diyan basta mga animated videos ako ni na sa photo na sa halin. Okay. So mas madali siya ang Photon kasi ang matabo ka on, example this one, edit. Kung gusto mo siya i-upload, it's easier. Ari nakasulat man siya, export. Click export. May choice siya, download, JPG, download Photon, or upload, or download PowerPoint. So you can upload it YouTube. Make sure you have an account in your YouTube. And then the rest is just click OK and OK and OK. That's it. Your account in YouTube. It's much easier kung amo na sang gamiton mo, the Photon account. Okay, so I think that's it. Para hindi na kamo mamudlayan, please access my Canva by clicking the link para ma-access nyo on how to use all the different do halos tanan na pwede mo magamit sa Canva. Okay, any more question?
Ako, ma'am.
Sige.
Inang ang sa mga activity nga atong sa like sa akon atong sa methodology, ma'am, need pa to liwaton, ma'am.
Kay uhon nyo malang yato siya.
So,
Tapos,
i-unsubmit.
hindi man gilid ang submit, pwede mo man siya i-click ang sang bilog, i-upload ka lang sang isa. Tapos, ang matabo, yaong sa, tawag ko na, sa inyong ginubra nga questionnaire, okay nyo to siya, apply lang na necessary revision na gamiton nyo, kasi gamiton nyo yaon siya sa next module ninyo. Kay official yun ang next module ninyo. Ng gathering of data. Gets nyo?
Yes.
Kung na yung revision na kailangan na dito i-revise, kayuhon nyo na lagi sa discuss ko nga paano mag-ubra sang interview, paano mag-ubra sang questionnaire, i-delete dyan ang inog-delete, kayuhon ang inog-kayo, then taguon nyo, i-rewrite nyo again, and then conduct the second module. Ang second module nyo is yung second module nyo, at the last part, your final output, you are going to officially distribute to at least 10 to 15 participants for those who choose interview and 20 to 30 respondents for those who choose survey questionnaire. Okay. Kumbaga, hindi kamo ay mag-discuss kung wala ko pa kamo natudluan kung paano mag-interpret sang data. I want you to prepare Excel next meeting or papel man next meeting para masayran nyo kung paano mag-compute sang gin-gather nyo nga data, especially sa pag-transcribe at pag-interpret sang inyo nga gin-interview. Madali lang tana ang sa survey questionnaire kasi gina-encode ba lang sa Excel per cell ang mga answers ng respondents, pero ang sa transcription medyo kailangan isulat lagi in sigida ang transcription, bisan isa lang anay ka or 5 lang anay ka transcription ang nakasulat nyo para masayra natin kung paano ka mo mag-transcribe next week. Because next week, I will be teaching you how to make tables, graphs, pie, line graph, bar graph, flowchart. Kunano dapat ang gamiton for that kind of research. Hindi tanan dya gamiton yung mapili ka lang man sang isa at dapat appropriate man na chart ang gamiton nyo. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So, That's it for now. I want you to study this carefully, the presentation and implementation of visual tables and graphs. And then see you next week, Monday again, same time. Please do not be late para madasig atong pag-ubra. Medyo maoti abi diyang part nga ra. Kaya amo dya ang the body of your research report. Okay? You cannot do anything without this part. Hindi mo maintindihan ang research report without this part. Okay? Any more question? Who else have questions? Wala na? Hello?
Okay na, ma'am.
Okay, please show your faces again. Do mga bagong bugtaw ba? Kapag wapag kailangan kita magmuna-muna. Sige. One last time for documentation. Okay, 1, 2, 3. First day. Gani. Last. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I will be posting the video later. I think I will send the email para mas madali nyo ma-revisit, especially on how to write the interview and the questionnaire. Okay, para makita nyo kung ano ang dapat kalayuhon nyo. Always make sure to connect it directly to your general question. Ang inyong ginpili na topic. Okay? That's it.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye for now. Bye, everyone.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you.
Sakit ulo ko ah.
Ano naman?
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Kami, maga kami.
Bye.
Hi.
Bye na gani.
Bye.
Oh,
Bye.
Where did we go?
1, 2, 3, go.
Stop ka, Anay, ha? Kailangan.